Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat, and I think he's recovered. Recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. We're going to get into this hat in just a little bit. But the purpose of the Demetra Kaye Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. I should also say that we are not live. We will be live later. And we're actually going to be live just a little bit earlier because Donovan has to take his new puppy to the vet to make sure that he is okay. So we'll be here just a little bit early. Of course,
George the cat. George the cat.
Oh, George? I thought you said your puppy.
No, George the cat.
I don't know why I thought you. Okay, that's why I was like, okay. George the cat, not the puppy is fine, but George, one of his many cats. We need to make sure that he is okay. So we're gonna leave a little bit early here, or we're gonna be on here a little earlier so he can leave earlier. Okay. So as you guys know, it's exactly, maybe a little less now, a week until Election Day, November 5th. And if you have not registered to vote, I don't know if it's too late to do that, but maybe you can. I think up until today's the last day you can do it. Or no, you can register.
Yeah, some states it's same day registration. Some states are same day. So depending on where you're at, if you have the bottom line is if you haven't registered, please register to vote.
Yeah, as soon as possible. And then, you can go make your voice heard, whatever it is you want to vote for. That is your business. I voted yesterday. I will say that. So anyway, so yes, there's less than...
Where's your sticker? Where's your sticker? I didn't see you post anything.
It's in the car on the floor. So as y'all know, it's about a week or so until Election Day, where former President Donald Trump, who was president in 2016 to 2020, is trying to get back in the White House. Of course, Vice President Kamala Harris is trying to stay there and actually get a promotion to the presidency of the United States. But what we understand is a hotly contested race to where it's pretty much even from what they're saying. They say they kind of go back and forth, but for the most part, it's even. Now, I also read an article that said that even though Kamala Harris may be up by a few points, it's the swing states that matter, right? And of course, it is the Electoral College that's going to determine who wins, not necessarily the amount of people that vote, if that makes any sense. So those swing states can go any way. They're not necessarily red. They're not necessarily blue. They're considered to be purple. They may go blue or they may go red. We'll know after the election is over. Okay. So, of course, we know that they've both been going on a copious amount of interviews recently. Donald Trump was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Sounds like he was on there for 3 hours. I did not watch it. I have not watched it yet. And of course, Kamala Harris is everywhere. She did Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay. I watched about 10 minutes of that. I listened to her interview on the Breakfast Club this morning. And I remember she was also interviewed by them a couple of weeks ago on iHeartRadio, them being that of Charlamagne the God and them. And I guess she swung back around to have an interview. And I listened to the whole interview of that. So there's a lot going on. They're both trying to feverishly get their message out to get those undecided voters to, come on over to their side. Now, Donovan did watch the Club Shay Shay interview, and I watched the Breakfast Club interview. We're also going to talk about something that happened at the Madison Square Garden with that of former President Donald Trump, where it was packed to the rafters, if you will, with attendees. Now, of course, he had
sold out.
Yeah, sold out. They said about 40 speakers, and then one of the speakers, Tony Hinchcliffe, who is sort of a very, I don't want to say raunchy comedian, but he's very pushing the envelope comedian. Got in a little bit of hot water talking about Puerto Ricans. In fact, he talked about everybody. We'll get into that. So, Donovan, you listened to Kamala Harris on Club Shay Shay, which again is Shannon Sharpe. What did you learn? Did you learn anything different, new? And then we're going to get into your hat in just a minute, but go ahead.
Well, I just want to say before we get started, welcome back. We are not live. Again, if you guys want to contribute to the show, we have a scrolling banner at the bottom. Please, those are ways that you can do it, and we can keep these great conversations going even after the elections. Demetra and I have been doing this show for over 8 years, and we're just putting out information. If you take it and go where you want to go, but you can do Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order. We take it all, whatever the deal is, but it does support the channel and keep us motivated and keep the content creator motivated to continue to come up with these great topics to talk about. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play and Apple Store. And if not there, you can go to YouTube directly, go to African Diaspora News Channel, and you can subscribe and become a member there as well. So great to do that. Club Shay Shay. Demetra, I will never understand why these pretty good podcasters and entertainers would destroy their platforms based on this candidate. We're not learning nothing new. We know Shannon Sharpe's a former football player, so I'll give him some grace because he's not a professional journalist. But the mere fact he does have a podcast that puts out information, and if you're going to put somebody on your platform, you're supposed to be non-biased, right? Or at least, push the envelope and push them back and challenge them a little bit. Because if you guys notice here on our show, there's been a copious amounts of time Demetra and I have pushed the envelopes and gone against each other in regards to what we believe and the direction we want to go. And it gives two sides to the envelope. So a lot of people complain like, oh, Donovan, he's a misogynist and whatever. Weak, ladies, weak. When you guys don't have an argument, you guys go to the shame, insult, and guilt. But that's okay. But I'm a man. I'm not going to go against my manhood and thinking I'm going to stand on my square, just like as she as a woman, she's going to stand on her square. Much respect too. But that Shannon Sharpe interview was the exact same interview she did on The Breakfast Club. She's done on all the different platforms. It's almost like they tell her and tell the host, here are the questions. Don't ask her anything outside of that. And all she did was like respin it a different way with the same answer. So I was not impressed with that at all. It was the same exact interview, the same exact questions. How many times are we going to go to her and ask her about, I don't know, just her family coming up in middle class and all this other stuff like that. And nobody keeps challenging her. Okay, that's fine. You want to build 3 million homes. How are you going to do it? How come they never? It's a simple question. Okay, you want to do that? You're saying that this is all great. How are you going to do it? Only in this whole election cycle, only one person ever pushed her in regards to how are you going to do it? The border wall. Are you for it or are you against it? There's numerous videos of her threatening to take away people's Second Amendment rights, going into people's houses and confiscating their guns. But yet she was for that, but then she's against it. I mean, nobody challenges in there. So I didn't learn a damn thing. It was the same thing. And it's so sad because they could have saved their money and we would have ran a better campaign for her than what she's doing. When you are 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out at the end of your campaign, people should know who you are and what you stand for. And at this point, people still do not understand what this woman stands for or where she's going or what she's doing. Rich people paying their fair share. How are you going to do it? Oh, they just got to. If you don't control the House and you don't control the Senate, how are rich people going to pay their fair share? All she's showing is she is not qualified for this position. And it's bad. And like I was telling you earlier, Demetra, being a recovering Democrat, and I was born a Democrat. I was raised a Democrat. I left the Democratic Party after the disappointing Obama years. I pull for the Democrats to do the right thing. And if she loses this election, number one, she's a bad candidate. We've always said that since she ran the first time. But if she loses this election and democracy's at stake, I have nobody to blame but the Democratic Party because they ran a very bad candidate. I didn't learn anything new on the Shay Shay thing.
Yeah, and I was just, looking at some things. So, of course, former President Donald Trump was on Joe Rogan a couple of days ago, and that interview was almost 40 million views. And I just looked at the one she did on Club Shay Shay, which was yesterday. It's almost 1 million views. The one that she did on The Breakfast Club, let's see, that was this morning, 54,000 views. So a reason why I looked at both of those is because it doesn't seem like people are that excited to listen to Kamala Harris. And I'm going to say this and listen, at this point, I don't care what people say. People say, we're biased, this, that, and the other. As I always tell people, my mission has been, and it's been since 2019, is to make sure people know the truth about Kamala Harris. And that's the square that I've been standing on. I'm going to stand on it, regardless if she wins or not. But nevertheless, what I ascertain is people aren't that interested in listening to Kamala Harris anymore because, as you said, Donovan, all of her interviews are the same. Like I said, I tried to watch the Club Shay Shay yesterday, but I stopped watching when he asked her, so where were you? What were you doing when Joe Biden called you? Oh, I was playing, putting a puzzle together with my babies. I said, okay, you know what? Enough. Because I knew where it's going, right? We've heard the same thing over and over and over and over again about Kamala Harris. I listened to the full Breakfast Club interview, which was about 16 minutes long or so this morning, and it was the same. It was the same. Her talking about Trump. They asked her, I forget what they asked her about, but she didn't answer the question at all. She went right back to Trump. And then they asked her about black men. Why do you think that they're saying that black men don't want to vote for you? She goes, I don't know, but I go to all the barbershops and they talk to me and they really want to, talk about voting. And they're saying from what the Breakfast Club says, is about 85% of black male voters want to vote for Kamala now. How true it is, I don't know. But all the interviews that I've watched with her, I didn't learn anything else about her. It's the same old thing. She does not deviate from the talking points at all. It's the same. And when you go into these comment sections, it's the same thing. Like, we're tired of her. She's saying the same thing. My groceries are too high. Why can't she fix it now? She's been in office because she said the same thing. Things on the Breakfast Club. And forgive me, because a lot of these interviews are just meshing together now. But she says when she if she goes to the White House, she's going to fix the grocery prices. She's going to, stop them from price gouging. She's going to make sure people are able to buy homes, this, that, and the other. But then you go back to the question that everybody wants to know: why aren't you doing it now? Biden still has the power. Is he lame duck? Yeah, to some degree, but he still has things that he can do. Why isn't he doing it now? But then now people aren't even asking her that question. They're just kind of letting her talk about the same thing, the $25,000 haul down. And then she talked about the black men. They're going to get $20,000 to start a business. And, you can get you a real website, not the one that your cousin put together. That's what she said on Breakfast Club. And it's like, 20. So that kind of stuff. And it's like, you're not really saying a whole bunch of anything. Now I want to deviate to this. Of course, because she said, I got all these people who's endorsed me. I've got Bad Bunny, I've got Beyonce, I've got J-Lo, and some other people. I forget that all celebrities that she talked about that endorsed her. Now, of course, that comes off of the heels of the comedian Tony. Whatever his name. Let me get it right because I don't want to get it wrong. His name is Tony Hinchcliffe. Now, I guess he's some sort of a comedian that pushes the envelope. Admittedly, I've never heard of the guy before, but apparently a lot of people have. Now, he was one of the 40 speakers that was at Madison Square Garden that was having a rally for Trump. And he said some pretty, eyebrow-raising things about everybody, right? He talked about Black people and watermelons. He talked about Jews and money, basically, I guess, being cheap. He talked about, he talked about a lot of people. But then the part that everybody ran off the rails with is, where'd it go? He says, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico, right? So people got all mad because it's like, how dare you? He's calling Puerto Ricans trash, this, that, and the other. So he had all the Puerto Ricans you can think of. As I said, Bad Bunny, and all these people come out and they're endorsing Kamala. But then, they negated all the stuff that he said about everybody else. Now, a lot of people like he's a comedian. It was jokes. Were they too far? Yeah, probably. But it sounds like he helped roast that of Snoop Dogg. And Lunel, let's see. They said, what did he say about Lunel? He said, okay, let's see. It says, and I guess he roasted Tom Brady as well. So he says, even fellow comedians aren't immune. This is the article saying, at the Snoop Dogg roast, Hinchcliffe made a joke referencing comedian Lunel, who was Black, being on the Underground Railroad. And it says, of the honoree, he says, Snoop, you look like the California raisin that got hooked on heroin. So, I say all that to say that's just kind of the vein of jokes that he's in. Now, of course, some people are like, well, it's not a secret that since 2017, I think when Puerto Rico had the hurricane, that it never recovered, right? It's still kind of in shambles. And so that's the hill that the Democrats are trying to die on, trying to say that he doesn't like Puerto Ricans and this, that, the other. And so there's a lot going on.
But Demetra, even if he doesn't like Puerto Ricans, so what? There's a lot of white folks that don't like Black folks, but they don't say nothing in public, but behind closed doors. And obviously the Democratic Party is showing you they don't like Black folks by the policies that they endure. But I want to ask you this. Now, as we know, the popular vote doesn't elect the president, but it is saying that after 3 election cycles, Donald Trump, it is alleged, might possibly, for the first time in 3 election cycles, win the popular vote. Now, if he does win the popular vote, a lot of Democrats, might be upset and might get upset, right? And then, of course, we know the Electoral College is what elects the president. Now, if he wins the popular vote and Donald Trump happens to win the Electoral College, some people, and they're saying that Kamala might lose some delegates here in California, which I don't see that happening because it's a Democratic state. But there's a lot of people mad with Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party here in California based on what has happened in the reparations thing. So she could possibly lose some delegates. She won't lose the state, but she might lose some delegates. But I've heard some people who obviously didn't take civics class talk about, well, if the Electoral College and he gets this, and it's a close election, which I don't think it is. That's me personally. But let's say it is close. They're going to say, oh, it's not right that the electoral, and I've heard Democrats say this, it's not right that we have an electoral system. If so-and-so gets the popular vote, then that's, the people are actually talking. I said, wait a minute. That does make sense. The people need to decide, but we have an electoral system. But yet you don't have a problem with Kamala Harris being installed as the Democratic candidate without nary one person voting for her. Because what you're saying is the same thing that happened in the Democratic delegation. They had their delegates. They selected her. Nobody voted for her. So why would you complain about the Electoral College?
Yeah, and also Jeff Bezos is in a little bit of hot water, I guess, is because, he owns the Washington Post. And it came out that, well, this is the first time, I think, since they said 1976, that the Washington Post has not made an endorsement of a presidential candidate. Now, there's a story that came out that some Trump people met with some of the Washington Post people, some of Jeff Bezos people, and they, because I guess originally they were going to endorse Kamala, but they said no, they weren't going to. In fact, Jeff Bezos decided that we're not going to endorse any more presidential candidates because we kind of want to stay in the middle and just give people the information. That's what newspapers should be doing. And of course, a lot of staffers quit because they felt like that the Washington Post should endorse Kamala. Said that as of yesterday, over 200,000 people ended their subscription to the Washington Post because they're mad about them not endorsing Kamala. And I think the LA Times as well didn't endorse Kamala too. So it's quite a few publications. But then you think about the juxtaposition of a lot of other media outlets that are endorsing Kamala. In fact, I would think that she has the media on her side in regards to endorsements. But I made a post yesterday and I said, so y'all mad because the Washington Post won't endorse Kamala, and Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, right? But y'all not mad that employees are treated horribly in a lot of those plants, and y'all want to get rid of your subscription to Amazon? So it's like y'all mad over one woman not getting an endorsement, although she's gotten a lot of endorsements. In fact, sounds like she's got more union endorsements than Trump and a whole lot of other endorsements. But that one is where you draw the line. And to me, it's just like silliness, right? But as far as all this is concerned, I'm with my daughter on this. I can't wait till the election season is over because it's very draining. It's waning on. It's just a lot going on. But in regards to her interviews, and I have not learned anything new about Kamala from the very first interview. And the other thing too is this: for 2 months, you couldn't get Kamala to say nothing. She would not say nothing, would not interview. You didn't know what she could even talk. Did the cat have her tongue? Or whatever the case is. And now you can't get her to be quiet. Now she's everywhere, any and everywhere that will listen to her. She's telling the same old story. As she says, it's the same old playbook. You're telling the same old story. And it's like, well, Kamala, my problem is this. Now, I voted yesterday. Now, I know I wasn't going to vote for Kamala, but there might have been a chance for her to change my mind with all that talking she was doing, and she says something different, but she never, ever said anything different. And now, Donovan, they're running around calling Trump a fascist. I've heard a lot of people now rolling that talking point out. A fascist, basically somebody who was about the oppression of other people. That's want to hold up supremacy. Usually, is white supremacy.
Yeah, fascism is actually the mixing of government and business. That's basically fascism. Yeah.
So that's what they're running around, saying about him. And then lately, I said in the last couple of weeks too, she's been saying, oh, he was given $400 million, and he's giving billionaires and millionaires tax breaks. And I saw that they fact checked her on that. Basically said you're lying. While he is giving millionaires and billionaires tax cuts, he's also giving everybody else tax cuts. So you're not telling the full story, right? But again, I didn't learn anything new about Kamala. I just didn't. So,
well, the funny thing about Kamala being from California, those of us that experienced the Kamala regime and the oppressive tactics that she used here in regards to the Attorney General's office, we know, so we already know. So, I mean, there was nothing you were going to do to change my mind, as in this candidate running there. I mean, I was not going to vote for her under any circumstances based on Sheree Peoples and Maitrice Richardson, all these things that were happening that she did, opposing the California Supreme Court, holding people in jail. And then when you tell people who aren't from California these things, they act like you're lying when these are actual factual things. I don't think, people get up on the internet to be sued, just because you want to be sued. I don't think you would intentionally spew things just to be sued, because that's what's going to happen to you if what you're saying doesn't have some truth to it. So she's just a bad candidate. And again, if I'm kind of concerned when you start name calling a person fascist, which is kind of stupid. This man has, and I'm not defending Donald Trump. I don't like either of these candidates. But the bottom line is this: the man has Jewish grandchildren. His favorite daughter, is married to a Jewish man. Just like Kamala is married to a Jewish man. To call this man a fascist, to me, what she's doing is she is preying on the lowest denominator of the racial bigotry within the Democratic Party. Like that's going to, get people to, oh my God, he's a fascist. Let me go ahead and do that. And you're putting this man's life in danger. I mean, he has already been threatened with lead poisoning. If you guys know where I'm going with lead poisoning, he's attempted lead poisoning in a lot of situations. And to me, that goes to show you this woman isn't a Christian. This woman is a Hindu. And I'm not saying what the religions are, but I would never put my enemy in a position to be lead poisoned, all because I want to assume a certain office and, my thirst for power. And that's the way I look at it. I said, wow, this woman is willing to have this man suffer lead poisoning just so she could win an election. But those of us from California, we knew how this woman got into the position she's got into. Again, Willie Brown here, and I don't care how she did it. She did it. And then you assume the second highest office in the land. Joe Biden puts you where you're at and you backstabbed him. And now you expect people to have respect for you and all this other stuff. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and you're right. You know, especially regarding Maitrice Richardson. You know, it was a black girl who was found dead after she was released out of the Los Angeles Sheriff Department custody after she was having some issues in a restaurant. They arrested her and they let her go, so they say. And they almost a year later, they found her body, you know, deep off in a canyon somewhere, which was like 30 something miles or so away from where she was originally let go from at a police station. And Kamala Harris was like a shoulder shrug. We're not going to pursue it. We're not going to look into it type of thing. And, you know, her father spoke out earlier on about it, especially when, you know, it was announced that Kamala would be taking the place of Joe Biden. So there's a lot to be considered here. But Donovan, let's shift gears here just a little bit. You have a MAGA hat on, Make America Great hat on. I want to say this about you before I get, you can expound upon that. Back in 2019, when Donovan and I first started talking about, you know, politics, kind of, sort of, when Kamala was running, Joe Biden, Trump, and all of that, we really talked a lot about Trump. We're not Trump fans. I don't know if it's safe to say that we are now. I'm not. And so here you are, all these years later, you're wearing a MAGA hat. Donovan, I know personally that you have lost a lot of friends, very close friends, due to your political, I want to say views, political awakening. You know, you've lost friends, and to be honest with you, there's a situation that happened about a week or so ago that I was involved in on one of Donovan's comment threads, and you know, people really got in their feelings, and they got in their feelings because they learned that my heart don't pump no Kool-Aid, right? I'm one of those people. I don't go on people's posts causing problems and trouble, anything like that. Donovan basically made a post about reparations. No big deal. It wasn't nothing incendiary, just, you know, talking about reparations. And then one of his frequent friends got on there, who's always on there. He's not doing too much or nothing like that. He basically said, because he's white, my, you know, ancestors, blah, 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 we didn't own slaves, this, that, and the other. And I said, well, you know, the same old. Black Americans need reparations for A, B, C, and D. And we have little friendly banter often, but nothing major. Well, another one of Donovan's friends who really loved the Democrats got on there and basically said, and he's black, by the way, my family, we don't deserve reparations because my family, we got all these and he tagged myself, Donovan, and the other guy in it. And you know, me being me, I put a meme of one of these jumping off the hood of a car. So of course he got all mad. Oh my God, he was so mad. Then another one of Donovan's friends got in there and called me filth. You're filthy, this, that, and how dare you talk to him like that? And of course, y'all know me, my mouth is real greasy when I'm disrespected. So it went on for, you know, about a week. And I didn't even know they was at me at all until a couple of days later. Nevertheless, they were mad at Donovan because they felt like he should have taken me out into the public square and beat me in front of everybody for, you know, disrespecting them.
And I did check you. I called you and I checked you.
Yeah, you know, check. So, but at the end of the day, Donovan, you know, was like, why do y'all want me to get in the middle of this? I just posted it. Y'all did what you did. And what do you want me to do? And so they, I guess, maybe excommunicated him. I don't know. But even before that incident, on my side and Donovan's side, there's a lot of people who just like, we ain't effing with you no more. How dare you type of stuff. So Donovan, here you are with this hat on, you're putting the final nail in the coffin. Talk to us.
All right. Now, how many of you guys remember back when the Cowboys were great? Everybody became a Cowboy fan, right? In the 90s.
You talking about Roger Starbuck days? Tony
those days too. That's when they became America's team, right? Because Roger Starbuck was the original Captain Comeback, right? He was. So remember, everybody was, Dallas. Everybody was a Dallas Cowboy fan. It is the most expensive franchise in the world. Now, 29 years later, we are still waiting for another championship, which is another story. Remember when everybody was a Chicago Bulls fan? Oh, Chicago Bulls. Oh, Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bulls, right? Then Michael Jordan retires, whatever. Then everybody became a Golden State Warriors fan, especially here in California, because everybody was a Laker fan. Oh, Golden State Warriors, they're the greatest ever. Oh my God, right? San Antonio Spurs fan. Oh, the San Antonio Spurs, they're the greatest ever. The New England Patriots. Oh my God, they're the greatest ever. So you look back and you say, hey man, weren't you a Chicago Bulls fan? Oh man, you know, they kind of look down, whatever deal is. Okay, so you were actually a Michael Jordan fan. Now, on my team, the Lakers, which I've been a Laker fan since 1975, we got this trash guy named LeBron James, and that's me speaking that. The guy is trash. Destroyed the franchise, right? But you got these LeBron James fans that are like, oh, Bronny, and this, that, and nepotism, and all this other stuff. You cannot do nepotism in physical contact sports. Nobody will respect you. That's why Bronny is a joke, and he's in the G League like I said he was going to be. That's another story. But you got these LeBron fans, right? Whatever. So basically what I'm saying is we are in a society that has raised children that are now grown that have participation trophies. Everybody's a winner, right? We're bandwagon fans. There's very few people now that are dedicated to their team, bottom or not. I'm a Cowboy fan. Every year the memes, they're coming out. Stephen A. Smith, just laughing in our face. But I'm sticking with the Cowboys regardless, right? So we've got bandwagon fans. Now, I'm a recovering Democrat. I'm an independent. I've been an independent for a very long time. When the Super Bowl happens, even though I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan, when the Super Bowl happened last year, guess who I was going for? The Kansas City Chiefs. So in a contest of political juggernauts, I'm going to go with the team that I think is going to win at this point, and it's Donald Trump. I have no doubt he's going to win. Doesn't mean I'm a Republican, but just like a lot of you people, when it comes to politics, I'm a bandwagon fan. I'm going with Trump because I know what Trump has done. I don't really know what he's going to do, but we have nothing to fear but fear itself. I do know what Kamala is going to do because I live in the state of California. And if California looks like crap and the open borders and all of this other stuff, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of the nation? It's going to be illegal immigration on steroids. At least with Donald Trump, he said, I'm closing the borders, I'm doing this, and that's going to benefit me. But this is a contest of who's going to be the most powerful person in the world. And unfortunately, this man's going to win.
Wow. Well, for me, like I said, I don't know. We will know when we know. I don't never like to make predictions like that. Of course, I'm hoping that we stick it to the Democrats. And let them know our vote is for sale. You need to do for us like you've done for everybody else. And we are no longer, when I say we, I mean the ones that have woken up. You will no longer take us for granted. You will no longer just assume because we are Black that we need to show up and just give you our vote while we watch you give everybody else something. So as I said before in the video that I did on the African Diaspora News channel, whether Kamala wins or Trump wins, Black Americans that stood 10 toes down, pat yourself on the back because you sent a message loud and clear, especially that she had to come out with this so-called Black man plan that's really for everybody else. It made her campaign have to do something quick to say, hey, Black men, we hear you. We hear you, and we haven't forgot about you, even though it's a nothing burger, but we got their attention this time around. And also, I say too, I think people are underestimating the Black woman vote because I see a lot of Black women who are saying, I'm not voting for Kamala. In fact, they're like, I'm voting for Trump. I know some women Black women who are staunch Democrats who casted their vote for the first time for a Republican, and that is Donald Trump. Because they're like, at the end of the day, and I think this is where a lot of people, again, I don't know who's going to win, but I think this is where a lot of people have gone like, well, we cannot deny that the economy is bad. Immigration is affecting everybody. Like everywhere you look is despair. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did that to the American people. I was listening to a report today. It says that even though the Feds cut the interest rates, the mortgage rates are going up. making houses more unaffordable to buy, right? Even going to the grocery store, most Americans who don't have a bunch of money, they cannot go to the grocery store like they could 3-4 years ago. I know people who have children and they're like, yeah, we go to the grocery store now. And it's like, golly, before we were okay going to the grocery store saying, you know what, we could get this, that, and the other. But now we have to be very strategic about what we buy at the store because we just don't have it like that. Our money does not go as far as it goes. And I tell you what, I spoke to another sister. She's an Afro-Latina sister. And she says, who do I need to vote for? It's going to be a first time voting. She's a citizen now. Her first time voting, she says, I need you to help me. I said, well, I don't necessarily want to tell you who to vote for. And I've had a couple people call me. And that's how I know some of these women who were Democrats. I said, vote your interests. Vote your wallet. And I just take them through a series of questions. I said, a couple of years ago, was it easy for you to go to the grocery store, the gas station? And she says, yes. I said, do you want to get back to that? She says, yes. I said, then that's where your vote should be. Not, emotionally tied to, oh, this, that, and the other vote blue, no matter who. Vote your interest, because at the end of the day, these people who are telling you to vote for Kamala, they're not going to walk to the grocery store with your ass and help you pick up the tab. They're not going to go to the got station and help you fill up your car. Now, I was just in California, okay? And I filled up a car a couple times. I was like, my God. But is this what y'all paying out here on the regular for gas? Where Donovan e-bike at? You know what I mean? So that's where people need to, we need to be logical. But as I said, big ups to Black Americans who said no more to the Democrats. Now, if Kamala's not successful this time around, they got 4 years to figure out how they're going to be more inclusive to Black Americans and stop kicking us in our tailbone and telling us to line up and sign up for more of nothing. Now they got to really come back to the drawing board with, hey, big head, how y'all doing?
And we have to learn, we ain't going to get you in there based on promises, because every time they get in there, we put them first and they put us last. We are still waiting for Joe Biden to stand next to us. Everybody else ate off of our vote. Everybody ate off our vote, and we're still waiting. And some of my friends who were the ones talking about when Joe Biden first got in there, well, give him time. He just got in there. Now, what are they saying? Now they're like, I'm not into politics no more. What? Okay.
And keeping the bucks. Some of them are still, now they back with the, I almost said to be
with the foolishness.
They back with it now. Oh, you this, you that, and why you? I mean, like, yeah. Listen, I see people's posts, and I don't really say much, but I've seen a lot of your friends, and I know some of them who have just tried to drag you back on the Democratic plantation. And Donovan is like, listen, y'all vote for who you want to vote for. I'm not telling you. I'm just putting out my views, and they are mad as hell. Like, they are really mad to the point of cutting Donovan off. And these are people he's known probably longer than me. You know what I mean? And now they says, well, we're disappointed that you want to vote for Trump. Well, that breaks my heart. How the hell your heart broken over somebody else's goddamn vote? How?
But that goes to show you how deep Stockholm syndrome is with Black people in the Democratic Party. You're in love with the party that doesn't do anything for you, but they're having you do these crimes and you're suffering. And I was watching the Philip Scott podcast via my subscription account on YouTube, and Phil brought up a good point. And he said, as Americans suffer, I don't care if you're a Black American, Asian American, whatever, as Americans suffer going to the grocery store, they can't feed this, whatever. These illegal immigrants, they've got thousands of dollars on their EBT cards and they can buy what they want, whatever the deal is, right? They're getting housed up, veterans, million veterans homeless, more Black people homeless in the United States than any other group. Mostly Black women are the highest evicted group of people, them and their children, in the United States. And Phil brought up a good point. He said, as they're doing this, and these naturalized citizens that of Hispanic descent that are coming in here, they're voting Republican. Did you see that video of that Asian lady that was like, no, Kamala, This was an Asian lady that benefited from Biden policy toward the Asian crime bill, where they gave him $26 billion. And she was voting against the Democratic Party that actually did tangible things for her group of people.
And she was at a Trump rally and called Kamala stupid.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. And what we got to understand as Americans, and I was talking to a bunch of friends of mine on a different podcast, and Americans, we need to start traveling more. We need to start traveling more. You independent Black women and women out there that are independent and feminists and stuff like that, the patriarchy is strong outside of the United States. Okay? That's just a fact. The patriarchy is strong. I'm a Catholic. Catholics, we don't believe in deletions of our babies and all this other stuff, whatever the deal. We believe in multiply. We don't give a damn, right? But you got to remember also, as a Catholic and these people from these Latin countries or whatever, outside of the United States, most countries are very conservative. Very conservative. The Asian culture is very conservative. The Hispanic culture is very conservative. The Black culture at its core is very conservative. So the writings on the wall, and this is what Philip Scott said, and I agreed with him. They let all these people in here that are going to go vote for the other party.
And it's true. And I think too, for Black people, which is why if Kamala is not successful, I think you got to give some of the credit to the Black women, because like you said, Black people, we've always been very conservative, from the way we raised our children and a whole host of things. But now the talking points to Black people, and even in the last decade, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 decades, 7 decades rather, it's been about the deletion of babies. And that's not something we did, right, Don? I mean, you come from a family on both sides where there's 20-something children, but same mom and dad, and on the other ones like 12 or so. So we kept our children. Like, that wasn't even something we thought of, right? Because we, for one, stayed together. And I was having this conversation with my daughter too. I said, the problem what we have with politics now is, and sorry if I'm freezing up too, by the way, but y'all can hear me. Everything is on from the left is way to the left, right? Deletion of babies, and boys and men and women's restrooms, and
war and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but then on the right, you got, we're taking all the books out the schools, and there's no women can't seek the help they need if God, it's an emergency or something like that. So everything is, there's like no middle. There's like where the common sense is, like, okay, here's the issue. How can we make it, what they call utilitarianism for the greater good? There's no greater good in politics anymore. So with Black people, we are very conservative, but they have brainwashed Black people into thinking, yeah, you could be a Christian and believe in the deletion of babies. And, and listen, I'm not saying anything about the LGBTQ community, because I know people from that community, very lovely people. But with the Democrats, they're okay with teaching children that stuff in grade school and having, drag queens running around in school. It's like, listen, but I remember when I was going to school, and Donovan, you too, when we were younger, and we had to have our parents sign off on whether we can learn about the birds and the bees in school, right? And if your mom didn't sign off on it, then you was in the cafeteria reading.
I was in the Catholic school, so we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so, but now this is the kind of stuff that they want to, force on people's children and stuff. So it's like, Black people, we've forgotten just how conservative we are. And I think a lot of us really just want to get back to common sense being conservative. But you feel is right. A lot of people y'all bringing over here, they're like, well, deletion of babies, we don't do that. That's how we whooping y'all in population, because we keep ours.
Exactly. And, and the thing about the common sense thing, what is wrong with that? I've never understood how the minority can control the majority. I never understood that. And that's what's happening now. Oh, LGBT, right. Okay, like me as a man. And big ups to the ladies out there for standing with your men. Because what I'm seeing, Demetra, in the younger generations, and let's all agree with this. If you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, I don't care. But let's all agree. Single parenthood does not work for the common good of the community. It does not work. People are working 2 and 3 jobs, and you're having the government raise your children. So if the government is raising your children, what is the government teaching them? Transgender, this, that, things that you probably are opposed to. Like me, religiously, I'm opposed to my children being taught that stuff. But if I'm working 2 and 3 jobs, what can I do about it?
But like you said, even Christianity, and I grew up in the church as well, and born into the Nation of Islam, and neither one of those religions cut for that kind of stuff. They don't agree with teaching, any of that ideology. Then again, that doesn't mean that they don't like those people, but that's just not something that's taught. That's not taught in the Bible. It says that of that ilk is an abomination. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. Okay, I didn't write the Bible. I'm just telling you what it says, that is an abomination. But yet here we are with the Democrats. Listen, I'm not saying the Republicans are better, because they got some wacky stuff going on too, and most of them get caught up in a closet their own self. Let's keep it a buck, right? But we none of us really learn those things in church, right? But yet here's the Democrat Party telling you it's okay. It's all right that your daughter may be wrestling a biological man, and get her arm broken off or whatever, and body slam, punched in the face. Like, so it's like, at what point do we as Black people say, nah, let's get back to the common sense, like you said, where the woman is in the home and she follows the leadership of the man. That's what I will say about the Republicans. As wacky as they are, they do have what you call family values. The woman is behind her man, whether she like him or not. She might be on the phone with her girlfriends all day long. Oh, Brandy's just Brandy. Oh, you know what? It's 3:30. Let me get these pot roast on the stove because he's gonna be home. You know what I'm saying? They understand that, but they have taught the Black woman that you don't need your man, that I agree with, and have sent her man to jail or hell, depending on what, you know what I mean? So yeah, they have taught that, girl, and if you think I'm lying, up until recently, listen to the rhetoric of the Democrat Party. The Black woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party, knowing that Black man votes right behind her, but they have given her the credit, which also goes to prove that they have been working tirelessly to remove that Black woman from the leadership of the Black man. Now, I want to say this. They've also put the Black man, they helped, I would say that for sure, put the Black man in a position where he is not able to lead that woman, right? Whether he's in jail, he's got a record, he's got something going on. And so there's a lot going on to where our home is disjointed. And we've always known, and the government knows too, if you get that Black family back together, Black unity, it is a threat to the nation. And by any means necessary, not Malcolm X, but the government saying we got to stop that. And the Democrat Party has just been aiding in that. And I'm going to give you this after this, Donovan. Look at Ketanji Brown Jackson. She was a white man.
Kamala and couldn't define what a woman was. But go ahead.
Didn't want to do it, right? Kamala Harris is with a white man. Most of these people, these sisters that you see in these positions of power, most of them are with somebody that don't look like her. So right there, that's the proof that the Democratic Party has been working very hard to tell that woman, you don't need that Black man. But they got made a fool out of us this time, didn't they? The Democratic Party realized they needed that Black man, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's it's like we said on the show Sunday, and I think we said it before that. If the Democratic Party cannot galvanize 90% of the Black vote, they can't win. And it's estimated right now, Kamala Harris has hemorrhaged 27% of the Black vote. That's men and women. And if you look at these on the street interviews in the hood and in the just regular neighborhoods, all of these Black people are saying, I'm not voting for her, I'm not voting for her. No, hell no with that, because they're all suffering. But Demetra, here's something I got to ask you. Right now, she can't give us any money or nothing like that, because you got to, work out who gets what, because it goes through the IRS. They know who's Black and who's not, and all this other stuff. That's why they give you these numbers and stuff. But I was talking to somebody and I said this: if Kamala Harris, with a week to go, Kamala, your staff, if you guys are listening and you want to win this election because you're hemorrhaging right now, here's how you do it. And I'm gonna give you the game. You need to get a press conference and say you are going to reform the child support system. The child support system. Do you know how many, Demetra, I know that sounds funny, but do you know how many men because she doesn't have just a black man problem. It's a man problem. Do you know how many men would probably vote for her just on the mere fact of making common sense child support laws that will catch up to the 21st century versus having these laws that haven't been updated and stuff? And there's a lot of women that are like, yeah, this ain't right. This is how you do it. You could win if you would do that right now. Joe Biden could put out an executive order right now and saying we are going to have a study or more, some kind of thing to revamp the child support system. If she said this, I'm going to make mandatory DNA test upon birth. Now that has to do with men or women. Who'd be against that? Who would be against it? That's how she could win right now. Being that we only have a week to go, that would be the platform I would tell her. Go out there and start telling people that.
Yeah, and then that might even be a state issue, a local issue, whatever the case is. But yeah, I definitely say the child support system probably does need an overhaul, as I know people who are caught up in it erroneously, and it's sad. But the other side of that is, yeah, there's people who need to be in there because they just ain't doing their part, whether it's man or woman. And we know it disproportionately affects men because usually the court system is favorable to women. So it does need to be looked at again. But, I don't know. I just looked and it says that, obviously the Democrats, they'll always have more support from black voters. But yeah, but the black man is 78%. Like you said, she's not doing as well as her predecessors have done with the black men voting. I would say black people in general, and then I think that one thing that also haunts Kamala is I'm not going to do nothing just for black people. That still haunts her, right? Right. Even though she said, well, I would support a study. We don't want no study. And we see that's the other part too. Y'all not listening to us. We keep telling
the study's already been done by California. The study's already been done. So you don't need a study.
I mean, hell, any of us that's been in school, we've studied about slavery, even on the most basic level. We know there's some slaves, black people, whether it was here or brought over on some ships, was forced into labor, backbreaking labor, and the most horrible thing, even if they on at school level, right? It was picking cotton. Okay. That wasn't right. So what do you need to study? Right. But she says, oh, I support a study. Like, Kamala, quit playing games. You're supposed to be one of the smartest women in the world. Y'all can argue over that. But I'm just saying, but yet now you want to do a study because that kind of stuff has worked with black people in the past. We getting the study, y'all. Now we like, nah, take your study and shove it. Give us some money because we know you got it, because you got it for everybody else but us. Now you ain't got it. So I don't know. We got, like we said, I got a week. We'll know next week who's going to be the new president, whether it's Kamala or it's Trump. But either way, the Democrats going to have to think long and hard about playing in the faces of Black Americans, because imagine if we'd had a little bit more time, the message that we could spread. Because like I said, I have a lot of people contacting me about, I don't know what to do. I had somebody call me yesterday. They were at the voting station. It goes about to go in there.
Yeah, I've been getting that too. From the older, especially what's crazy is from the older people.
Yep. And they said, I'm now voting for Kamala, but what do you think I should do? I said, vote your interests. I said, there's other people on there. And I said, in a lot of states, you can write your candidate in if you want. I said, but me personally, y'all know how I felt. I'm not voting for Kamala for a whole host of reasons that I've said, even since 2019, right? And so I've been able to help people just vote your interest. That's what everybody else do. They don't vote because of it's a Black woman. Listen, I'm just telling you what they say.
That doesn't work. We find out it doesn't work.
Yeah, or because she's a soror or she's the first. Nah, because as I said, joy and vibes ain't putting no money in your bank account. You can't eat joy and vibes, right? I'm gonna try them. It's air. It's air. You know what I mean? It's a feeling. I don't feel full when I think about joy and vibes. So if you voting about because that stuff, because you just feel good, and Beyonce and them, and then like you said, a lot of people were duped because they waited all those a lot of hours, lots and lots. I sound like Trump, lots and lots of hours at the rally, and she got up there and gave sorry about the sound like y'all, a funky little 4-5 minute speech, and they thought she was gonna get up there and sang something, and she didn't,
Right, but and that's not the first bait and switch. So if this woman is going to bait and switch like this, what do you think she's going to do when she gets into office? She's showing you who she is. But here's my thing about the voting thing, real quick. The voting thing. This is why it's important to register. Okay, we're going to know who's going to be the next president, and Kamala still has a good chance of winning because those celebrity endorsements mean so damn much. but she has a chance of winning. She does. But you got to remember, you still got congressional elections in 2 years. That's what's going to affect you closer than the presidential election. So you got to stay registered to deal with elections in your city. Right now, there's no election right now. You know, you might have mayor, like in my city, I got mayor and a couple of city council members. But in 2 years, the other council members are going to come up for their election because they kind of offset them. And that's what you got to be engaged about, you guys. What affects you the most? And if these people ain't doing the job, you got to get them out of there. You got to get them out of there. And that's why it's so important. Don't just say, okay, the presidential election's over for 4 years. I'm not even going to pay attention, because you didn't pay attention these last 4 years. Look at where we're at today.
Yeah. So with that, we'll be back in just a little bit for our live show. I don't know what we're going to talk about. You know, Donovan, as I said, I'm just tired of talking about politics. Of course, we'll have to continue.
Where are you going to be for the election night? Where are you going to be election night?
Well, we'll actually have a show on Tuesday. I'm going to be home, you know, and see what happens.
I'm thinking about going to Vegas. I'm going to be celebrating with the Trumpsters.
With your homies? Well, you know,
with my homies.
I don't know. I'll be here, but I want to say this too. No matter who wins, we still as Black people got to do for self, right? Up your mighty nation, accomplish what you will. We got to do for self. That doesn't negate us of doing what we need to do, because as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, nobody in the White House is going to do anything for Black people, right? We got to do for ourselves. However, there is a debt that is owed to Black Americans, and we want every penny of it, right? And they're going to give it to us. It's not a matter of if, it's when. We'll get it, but we still need to work toward Black unity, which I think a lot of us really understood the assignment this time around. And we unified and says, no, we're not. Y'all could be mad. We could lose family members. We could lose friends. And some people have even lost jobs. I've been on TikTok where people said they've been fired for, you know, supporting Trump or whatever the case is. So a lot of people got real skin in the game due to just saying, I'm not going to do it. Listen, I'm leaving the plantation, Kaye. I'm leaving with Nat Turner. Right, I'm leaving with Harriet Tubman and all the other people who left. I'm leaving with them, okay? And a lot of people really didn't like that. And Donovan, like I said, you know, I know you lost a lot of, you know, but I say this to you, and I've said this to you before. I don't want to say that they weren't your friends, but I think it makes us question the type of friendship we have with people, or, you know, even family relationships. If you would stop talking to me because I feel a certain way. And again, that comes from people who say democracy's in danger, which means I have a say so. But if I'm using democracy, you're mad. So you want me to think like you. And if I don't, we're no longer friends. So you have to question the caliber of friendship. Were you really my friend because you value what I think and how I feel? Or were you my friend as long as I agree with you and everything that you said? And I think a lot of people are really having to examine those things. And trust me, I've been, you know, blocked and stuff by people, not anybody that really matters. I wouldn't even know, right? But not anybody really matters, because I matter. You know, I matter to me. As long as I don't block me, I don't care. As long as as my dad always says, be true to yourself. And Donovan, at the end of the day, you are true to yourself. And there's a lot of people who just didn't want you to do that. And, you know, while I was giving them the razor blades and lemon juice, and I said this to you, I really feel bad for you that they have decided to move against you because you were doing what you've always done, and that's what the hell you want to do. You know, so
but you know, but as we, in conclusion of that, at the end of the day, I have a significant other. Then I'm not even worried about it. As long as I got my significant other, I'm not worried about what anybody has to say.
There you go. You ride on to the sunset, you know, and the middle fingers to everybody else who don't like it. And that right there is true knowledge of self. Okay. That and Donovan, I don't know about you, but I've never buckled down to peer pressure or none of that because my friends are doing it. They're saying I'm gonna do it too. I'm like, well, if it's something I want to do, great. If it's something I don't want to do, I'm not gonna do it. And I don't care who says anything about it. But like you said, Donovan, you've always said this. At the end of the day, no matter who goes into the White House, you still gonna have a place to live. You're gonna have cars to drive. You're gonna have a significant other. You got your cats. You got your dogs. You still gonna travel all over the world. You know what I mean? And that's true for everybody. Maybe not on that caliber, but life goes on. But at the end of the day, those people who decided to cut people off because I don't like what you're saying, and you'll have to answer to that. You'll have to, when all this calms down, and when you know that Trump or Kamala, whoever goes to the White House, went there and then even send your black ass a thank you card, then you'll have to say, damn, I was around there cutting people off because I'm in my feelings about what they're doing. Like that will haunt them that they did that to you. So right now, it may make you think, well, you know, that's kind of messed up, but they got to ultimately live with that they wanted to rob you of democracy and you wouldn't let them. So they said, well,
and, you know, and not even, you know, and not just that, they also lost a very, very good friend. Yeah.
And I say that about Donovan. Sometimes he get on my last nerve. But one thing about Donovan, he is truly a good friend. I told him this other day. I said, I think the problem people have with how they see Donovan is because Donovan's really a softy at heart. I'm not saying he's a punk. I'm saying he's, you know, very compassionate. As much as he gives his sisters hell, Donovan helps. I would say most of the people he helps is Black women. Whether it's a woman that was sleeping in the park, he went and made her whole house with a tent and everything she needed, checked on her, all kind of stuff. I know that he does a scholarship for a Black girl going to college every year. So there's stuff that Donovan does, and I want to tell his business, but I just feel like I need to say those things sometimes because I think a lot of times people see you as the Facebook post or the Twitter, when you're going hard in the paint against, you know, the wigs and the weeds, but it's like, okay, but I know Donovan personally, and I know that at the heart of it, that he really does love Black women. As he said, I mean, his significant other is a Black woman. You know what I mean? His mama Black, because on the flip side that people say, your mama Black. Yeah, he got a Black mama that he loved. Yeah, she get on his nerves sometimes, but there's nothing that Donovan won't do for his Black mama, right? So a lot of times people think that because Donovan, I want to say he's not confrontational because, you know, y'all seen us get into it, but Donovan, and I said this to him yesterday, I said he chooses his battles just a little bit more wiser than me because I'm like, oh, for real? Where the dust up at? Like, I might jump in it and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have did it. But Donovan is like, well, I'm gonna have me a V8, right? I'm gonna find something else to do, right? But so I think sometimes people think because a lot of times Donovan will post something, he'll just leave it alone, and people are and he's like, "Oh, y'all still going at it? Okay, let me go do what the hell I was doing, right?" So a lot of times people think, "Well, I just say whatever I want to say to him," but it's like Donovan is not gonna budge. He not gonna budge on how he feels and what he believes. He may not get into it with you, but he's not gonna budge.
And, you know, and what people got to understand is, yeah, and what people got to understand is, okay, I'm a combat veteran. I put my life on the line to, even if I'm wrong, I earn the right to say what the hell I want to say. And, you know, and if you don't like it, it's an easy solution. Scroll on by. And I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. I have never on my page got into any political confrontations with MAGA Red. They don't say a word. They scroll on by.
Another thing too is Donovan don't really give it the full context. Yeah, he's a combat veteran, but he did 16 tours of duty. So Donovan, you know, he don't really put the emphasis on it like that, but there's not a whole lot of people on the planet that can really say that they've done it. There's people who've done it. I'm not saying not, but that's rare. You know, so Donovan really has put his life on the line a lot. So I agree with him, even though sometimes he get on my nerves. But he's earned the right to say what he wants to say. And, you know, Donovan will tell you too, there was a sister that was on his page acting crazy. I was like, oh, hell to the no. Because, see, I know Donovan ain't going to say nothing, but I will. I'll be your Huckleberry. What you're not going to do is disrespect my friend. You know, because he don't think the way you do politically. You going and like I said, normally I don't say stuff, but she was just really getting personal. That's why when you ran for office, nobody wanted you. And I was like, oh, hell no, you ugly bald head heifer. I know she don't watch this show, but if she did, I don't care. Now, I didn't call her ugly bald head heifer, but I was thinking it. But she got the gist. You know, don't you talk about my friend. You know, and a lot of people came to his defense like, well, if I lived in his district, I would have voted for him. But I was like, no, what you're not going to do is disrespect him because he don't want to be no damn Democrat no more.
And there it is.
So anyway, we'll be back at about 4:30-ish, give or take, so that Donovan can take his cat George the cat and make sure that he
No, 3:30-ish, not 4:30-ish. 3:30. Oh no, 4:30 your time. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, right. Because Donovan's 2 hours behind me. So we'll be back. I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but it'll be interesting, I'm sure. So anyway, we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We will see y'all in just a bit. Peace.